On February 14, 2018, 19-year-old Nikolas Cruz took an Uber to Marjory Stoneman Douglas Highschool. He entered the 1200 building with a case rifle and a backpack. The building was a 3-story structure containing 30 classrooms, typically occupied by around 900 students and 30 teachers. He was charging his rifle on the hallway when a student accidentally bumped into him, and Cruz urged the freshman named Christopher McKenna to run as things were about to get bad.
I walked into a man. He was wearing a maroon shirt with a Casualties t-shirt with a backpack and a hat on, black pants. He had a rifle in his hands. I was stunned for 1 second, and he said to me, "Get out of here, things are about to get bad." And I walked through the double doors. I sprinted as fast as I can. I was in the room, in the staircase for about 7 seconds. And I ran out, and I ran to the north side gates by what's called our senior lot. And I ran into Coach Feis.
Cruz entered the hallway and began firing at students. Gina Montalto, Luke Hoyer, and Martin Duque were hit. Soon after, the sound of a fire alarm going off was heard by everyone, but it is uncertain if the shooter pulled it or if it simply went off due to the gunfire smoke. Because there had already been a fire drill earlier that morning, people were confused and they were not really sure what had to be done. Many of the students did not even realize that what was happening was real.
When he runs out, the defendant enters the first floor hallway. And when he enters the first floor hallway, there are 4 students in the hallway. He gets out and he fires his weapon at the 4 students in the hallway. The time, 2:21:33. 2:21:33. The massacre begins.
Cruz then proceeds to the classrooms. He first fires in room 1216, shooting and killing Alexander Schachter, who was still sitting at his desk. Cruz then puts his tactical vest on, recharges the rifle, and goes over to room 1215, where the first 3 students were hit. He shoots and kills them. He then fires in room 1214, and he kills Helena Ramsay and Nick Dworet. He wounds Samantha Brady, Samantha Fuentes, Isabel Checker, and Daniela Menescal. Cruz returns to the first room he shot, which was 1216. Firing again, he kills Alyssa Alhadeff and Alaina Petty. He wounds Justin Colton, William Olson, Genesis Valentine, Keshava Managapuram, and Alexander Dworet, which was Nicholas Dworet's brother. He leaves the hall and bumps into Chris Hixon, which he shoots and injures badly. Cruz goes back to where he came from, and while passing the first 3 students he now has shot twice, he fires a 3rd time. Going to room 1213, he fires through the glass door window and kills Carmen Schentrup. He wounds Madeline Wilford, Samantha Mayer, and Benjamin Wickander. Cruz goes back and again he passes Chris Hixon, which he shoots again. Continuing to go to the stairwell door, he encounters Coach Aaron Feis, which he shoots and kills. As the shooter goes up the stairwell, at the 2nd floor, the students and the teachers heard the shots from the 1st floor, and they also heard the shots from the stairwell. So they already began shutting off the lights and making sure that all the rooms are closed and locked. Cruz fires into room 1234 and 1231, but luckily there was no one there. He then heads to the stairwell to go up to the 3rd floor. The students and teacher here did not hear the noise, but they did hear the fire alarm going off, so they were proceeding to evacuate. They were out of the classrooms, some on the west stairwell, others on the east stairwell, and that's when they heard the gunshots, so they ran back up and tried to get into the classrooms. Cruz reached the 3rd floor and he noticed teacher Scott Beigel, which was helping students get into the room 1256. The shooter fires 4 times and kills him. The next classroom is 1255, where teacher Stacy Lapel was getting the students inside. Cruz shoots and wounds her, but she does manage to close the door to the room. The shooter continues to fire his rifle into the hallways, shooting Meadow Pollack and Cara Loughran, which retreat in room 1249. Also, Kyle Leman, Marian Kabachenko, and Anthony Borges were wounded. Joaquin Oliver was running down the stairs when he got shot, but retreats to the alcove of the men's restroom. Jaime Guttenberg was also running down the hall and she got shot. Peter Wang was heading to the stairwell door to run down and he was also shot. Cruz goes by room 1249 where he shoots Meadow Pollack and Cara Loughran again. Cruz then passes by the alcove of the men's restroom and shoots Joaquin Oliver again, this time killing him. He walks down the hall and shoots Peter Wang again, and this is the crazy part, the kid was shot 13 times. Can you imagine that? Jaime Guttenberg managed to reach the stairwell door, but she collapsed and died before managing to exit the building. Cruz wanted more, so he actually tried to shoot people from a window. These people were running outside and they were trying to get away from the school. Luckily, he was not successful in this. He then goes to the stairwell, passes by Peter Wang, passes by Jaime Guttenberg, and near her, he places his vest and rifle on the ground, and then he starts running and blending in with the other students that were trying to get away from the school. One of the students fleeing the scene actually talked to him during the attempt to get to a safe place.
We went along all the way here. Just about here is when I had turned around and I saw the shooter was standing behind me. I said hi, he said hi back, and I said, you have any college plans? And he said, somewhere in Florida.
The girl you just saw did not know at the time that she was talking to the person that had ended the life of so many of her colleagues and teachers. She's obviously still shaken up about the events 4 years later. Nikolas Cruz managed to get away and he stopped at a mall to get something to drink. Then he walked into a fast food restaurant to get something to eat. And there he stayed up until 3 p.m. when he finally left. 40 minutes later, he was apprehended by the police. This killing spree was at that time the deadliest high school shooting in the United States history, surpassing the Columbine school shooting that killed 15, including the perpetrators, in Colorado in April 1999. The shooting lasted for 6 minutes in total, and all the students and teachers were shot in less than 4 minutes. Cruz killed 17 people and he injured another 17. Alyssa Alhadeff, 14 years old. She was the captain of the Parkland Soccer Club, and on March 7, 2018, nearly 3 weeks after the shooting, she was honored by the United States Women's National Soccer Team. Scott Beigel, 35 years old. Geography teacher Scott Beigel was killed after he unlocked a classroom for students to enter and hide from Cruz. Martin Duque, 14 years old. Friends describe him as one of the kindest people they knew, and he will be missed by his brother as well. Nicholas Dworet, 17 years old. He was a swimmer that had already been accepted by the University of Indianapolis through a scholarship. Feis, 37 years old. He was an assistant football coach and security guard, and was killed as he was trying to get into the school and see how he can help. Jaime Guttenberg, 14 years old. She was a freshman and a talented dancer that was always defending the bullied students. Chris Hixon, 49 years old. Chris Hixon was the school's athletic director and was killed as he ran toward the sound of gunfire and tried to help fleeing students. Luke Hoyer, 15 years old. He loved basketball and he was also looking forward to joining the football team at Douglas in the fall. Cara Loughran, 14 years old. She was an excellent student who loved the beach. Her brother Liam was also in the school premises, but he was not wounded during the shooting. Gina Montalto, 14 years old. She was studying in the hallway to better concentrate away from the typical noise in the classroom when Cruz shot her. She was a smart, loving, energetic young girl. Joaquin Oliver, 17 years old. He had just gotten his US citizenship, and his friends were heartbroken for not being able to graduate together. Alaina Petty, 14 years old. She loved surfing, and she was part of the team that helped people clean and rebuild after Hurricane Irma. Meadow Pollack, 18 years old. Meadow was a senior who was shot 4 times. As Cruz fired into other classrooms, Pollack crawled to a classroom door but was unable to get inside. Cara Loughran, a freshman, was alongside Pollack, and Pollack covered Loughran in an attempt to shield her from the bullets. The shooter returned to the classroom and located Pollack and Loughran, discharging his weapon 5 more times and killing both girls. Helena Ramsay, 17 years old. Before the shooter targeted their classroom, Helena told students to get books and use them to cover their heads. She was a great student and a very loving person. Alex Schachter, 14 years old. He played trombone and baritone. A scholarship fund in his name was started by his family. His brother also survived the shooting. Carmen Schentrup, 16 years old, was a National Merit Scholarship Program semi-finalist, a very friendly person, always with a smile on her face. Peter Wang, 15 years old. Student Peter Wang was last seen in his Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps uniform, holding doors open so others could get out more quickly. Wang was unable to flee with the students when Cruz appeared and fatally shot him. As I was telling you earlier, 17 other students were shot but managed to survive. Here are some of the testimonies of what happened to them.
Then I decided to turn my head and look behind me, and then I seen my friend Helena, and it wasn't a very good situation. She didn't look like she kind of survived. I didn't feel anything at that point. I didn't feel pain. The ambulance personnel were just like, oh, it was a through and through. I didn't really grasp what that meant. I'm like, through and through, okay, sure.
I hear 3 shots in the hallway, like the loudest noise you've ever heard, from the back of my head. And so we start looking around the room, we scan, and everyone kind of just pauses, but like gives this silent look to each other. From underneath, from behind this wooden podium that I am now hunched over, and I see him. He's standing there in the window. And then I see my friend Nick. Nick is now on the ground, like wedged between like the floor and his backpack. He was shot overtly in the head and was killed instantly. To the left of him was Helena. She was shot overtly in the chest, killed instantly. And I look down and I've gotten shot. And I look above my left knee and I see that there's a huge hole there. And I look at the rest of my legs and there's like little holes in them, and then the little holes are covered in blood.
Where were you shot?
In my leg, my other leg, and the back, and over
Alright.
here in the arping.
All right, can you show it to us?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Thank you. And how many surgeries have you had?
14.
Nikolas Cruz pleaded guilty in an attempt to receive life in prison instead of the death penalty. In the aftermath of the massacres, students and teachers suffered from PTSD, and 2 of them ended their own lives in the year that followed. The jurors responsible of deciding Nikolas Cruz's fate visited Marjory Stoneman Douglas Highschool, the 1200 building. The gruesome crime scene seems to be frozen in time. There are still marks in the walls from the bullets that were shot from the AR. All the glass windows that were broken are still there. The personal effects of the children that witnessed this tragedy are exactly as they were left that day. The jurors saw the blood on the walls, on the floors. They saw Valentine's Day cards soaked in blood that has since dried out. There are teddy bears and deflated balloons still, and laptops on desks full of debris. That scene was not an easy one to take in by the jurors, I believe. When I started researching this case, I had a shred of empathy for Cruz, knowing that he had lost his parents, both of them, and this can be traumatizing, especially for a kid. But the more I read about how he planned all of this, and the more I listened to the survivors' stories, I can't help but feel that he really does deserve everything that is coming his way. But tell me, what do you guys think? Do you believe that he acted without fully comprehending what he was doing? Or do you feel like he was just pure evil and he knew what tragedies he was creating in the lives of all present at Marjory Stoneman Douglas that day? Please leave a comment down below and share your opinion. Thank you for watching this video. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.